What's going on, everyone? We got Lakers basketball once again. So today, July 5th, the Lakers take on the San Antonio Spurs for Game 2 of the California Classic at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm excited. I cannot wait. And I can't wait to see these young guys get some burn. If you haven't seen my breakdown of the first Summer League game and kind of like what I saw from the players and looking forward to and all that stuff, I'll link it down in the description. Go check it out. Tell me what you think. And if you saw it, what were your thoughts on the players? But diving into the players and coming up into this game, I expect Hood Schifino to continue to show what he's capable of. From all accounts, it looks like Schifino, like it's Schifino's show, right? Like Max Christie is clearly the best player, and we'll touch on him here in a minute. But it's the Schifino show, right? Like he's the guy that gets to control and run and operate everything. They made that very clear. Even the announcers, again, if you watch that game, even the announcers made that clear. Like, hey, the Lakers told Schifino he's got the green light. Let's see what you could do. So I want to see him continue to show the flashes that we saw. Can't really shoot, but hey, there's a lot of players that have been just atrocious in Summer League shooting-wise, and they actually were pretty good in the regular season, if not really good. So I don't expect him to be a 40% three-point shooter, but could he be a little bit better than he was in Game 1? Also, Game 1, how much of the nerves, like he was struggling bad early on. Once he got comfortable, once he kind of settled in, once he took a breath, then all of a sudden you saw like, okay, this guy can be really good. I mean, nobody could stop this guy. Nobody could. And they had top 10 defensive guy in the NCAA last year guarding him. And he was getting whatever he wanted. He was getting to the basket, getting and ones. You could see the potential getting out in transition. The defense was there. Like, he showed a lot, and I want to continue to see that, right? But I would like to see him knock down a couple threes and I'm hoping he settles in. What happens a lot with the young guys, I even talked about this last year with Max Christie, because you saw the exact same thing with Max Christie. And with Schifino, it's kind of the same. These young guys who are already on the roster, you see want to make an impression. They want to show and ball out. They want to show like, oh, like I'm the guy. And what ends up happening is they end up playing awful, right? They're playing as if they're trying to make the team rather than a guy that's like, oh, I'm already on the team. Let me just go out and hoop, right? Like that's the mentality that these guys should be having of like, I'm already on the Lakers roster. Like, what do I need to prove? Let me go out here. Let me show my game. Let me work on some stuff, right? Let me get the reps in. That's the point, right? Showcase. It's a showcase. Show us what you got. Show us what you can do. Show us what you're capable of, and put some work in. So I want to continue to see that. Maxwell Lewis, we barely got to see. I mean, it was really hard to evaluate him last game because he hardly played, and when he did play, he never really got any opportunities. Right? There were a couple good moments, like, and defensively, he looks just really big. I don't know if it was just kind of like the guys that he was going against on the court and stuff, but he just looked a lot bigger than he did at like Pepperdine. Maybe he's put on a little weight or something, or again, maybe it was just like the guys when he was in that were around him, but I was like, man, dude, he's big, which is good if that is the case. But I really want to see him get an opportunity, right? Like the Lakers during the first Summer League game were playing all the guys that aren't going to make the team or have a chance to make the team. They were playing all the guys that like you don't really care to see reps. Like I want to see Schifino, I want to see Lewis, I want to see Castleton, right? I want to see Fudge, I want to see Hodge. Like I want to see the guys that have a real chance of making this roster, making this team. Like, I don't care about winning the games. Like, yeah, if the Lakers can win the Summer League, that's great. But who cares? Like, I want to see them. I want to see the guys that are either on the roster or have an opportunity to get on the roster, get their shine and get their opportunity. And maybe that could happen. It was the first game. Maybe Lewis plays, 90% of the game. I would love that. But I'd like to see him get an opportunity. Like, let's see what he's capable of, right? Many people think Lewis is the guy that the Lakers stole, right? Like, many draft experts, many people that like do this stuff for a living are all like, no, forget Schifino. Schifino may end up being very good, but Lewis is the guy that could be game-changing for the Lakers. It's what a lot of people really believe. And look, I completely get it. I mean, I did a whole player breakdown of Maxwell Lewis before the Lakers even drafted him. He was one of the guys that I was hoping the Lakers would get. And I actually thought that they should grab him at 17. And so did many others. I wasn't alone in that. Like, the Lakers even said the reason we drafted him when we drafted him was because he was a first-round top 15 talent. Lewis was anywhere from top 12, some people had him at 10, all the way to like the 20th pick. Like, for him to fall into the second round was like, oh, okay, watch out, right? He's the guy that I really want to see. 6'7", got good size, good length, good wingspan, really good defender, both shoot the ball, all of it. Like, give him some opportunity. Let's see what he could do, right? I really want to see that be the case. Max Christie, I expect to continue to shine, right? He did what he showed. Look, I'm better than everybody here. Like, he showed like what you want to see, right? Same thing with Austin Reeves last year, right? You wanted to see like how much better is he compared to everybody else, and he was clearly the NBA ready guy. Like, out of everybody, he was the guy that you looked at and go, oh yeah, no, he can definitely play. Like, he was getting whatever he wanted. He was finishing over bigger guys like they weren't even in front of him. He was just contorting his body and just making great play. I mean, he shot like almost 55% from the field. Like, the dude got whatever he wanted, and he probably could have went off for 40 easily in that game. But it's not about him, right? It's about the young guys, about Schifino. He's just kind of out there getting reps, getting run. He took a couple shots that he probably wouldn't have taken otherwise. Just a couple 4 shots, a couple pull-ups. Still has some work, definitely, right? Like, if you watched him play in that game, it wasn't like you were watching him and you're like, oh man, this guy is the greatest player, the second coming to Jordan. Like, no, nothing like that. But he was like, you did see like, oh man, this guy legit is a two-way player. Like, this guy could be really good for like this is a guy that you could see earning rotation minutes. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if he gets rotation minutes, right? I mean, the Lakers, you can make an argument the Lakers could use another shooting guard, right? I mean, they have Reeves, D'Lo is capable of playing the 2, but outside of that, it's all basically, forwards and they could use another center, right? But it's really a roster of forwards now. And so Max Christie could end up getting a lot of run behind Austin Reeves, right? And I'd be all for that, but I don't really expect him. I don't expect him to get a lot of burn as we continue through the summer league. I think he'll get some here and there, but even when he is on the court, he's just kind of coasting. Kid, if you saw game 1, he was just kind of out there at times. He wasn't really doing too much. He wasn't trying to kill himself or anything like that. Again, he's already on the team, right? He doesn't have anything to prove. He's just trying to get reps and show like, oh no, I'm the best guy on the court. And he was really good. So kind of hard to evaluate Christie, but you can see it. Like, just watching, you're just like, okay, this dude's a baller. So anyway, with him, Colin Castleton, I really want to see him, right? We need to get Colin Castleton some run. He barely played. Getting another guy that was a little rough early on, right? And then once he got comfortable, you saw everything you wanted. I mean, he scored what? He scored like 7 straight points or something like that for them, like on back-to-back and ones. You saw his ability to run the floor. You saw his ability to handle the ball. You saw his ability to finish through contact. Like, all of those things are very valuable and all stuff that I've been preaching Colin Castleton can do. He had a sequence where the guy, it might have been Schifino, like threw it up to him and it was a bad pass. And he was like trying to fight for it. The ball hit the ground. He had 3 guys around him trying to get the ball. And he didn't just go pick it up and go up. No, he kept the dribble alive and literally dribbled it out of reach of 3 guys trying to swipe at the ball. Keep in mind, this guy's 7 feet. He's dribbling the ball, is able to gather it, go up and get an and one. I was like, my God. Like, I was like, come on, man. Like, how did this guy go undrafted? Like, it was ridiculous. And granted, it was one game, it was one moment, it was one sequence, but he had several of those moments. Everything that I've said that I really like about him, and again, you never know. He could end up being a bust, and he gets NBA. I mean, like Cole Schwider, I was so disappointed watching Cole Schwider game one. Again, it's game one. All right, sure, but if you watched him play, it was like, yeah, this guy's nowhere close to being ready. He looked almost worse than he did last year. The guy he's 6'9", but he might as well be 5'9". He has just no awareness. He doesn't use his size. Like, he's solely a catch and shoot guy, which is fine, right? But you need to see more from him, especially if he's going to be an NBA player. So Colin Castleton very well could end up just not being nothing. But I really do think he has potential, at bare minimum, to be a quality backup, right? Maybe he's not starting level, but at least a quality backup guy. I mean, you saw he's a floor running big. You saw the athleticism. You saw his ability to handle the ball. You saw his ability to go through and fight through contact, right? It just everything that you want from a center, you saw in Colin Castleton in that game. I want to see them highlight him more. I really do, and I really hope that they do. And then last one is Hodges. Again, he's a guy that if you're going, he's on a two-way. Him and Colin Castleton are the two-way guys. Can we get them some run? Right? Like, can we get him an opportunity? It just drives me crazy that, like, we have the guys that you're trying to have be a part of the team and get good looks at and all of that. And it's just like, but you're not giving them any run. Like, what's going on? Like, what seems to be the problem here? Like, why is that? Like, I get he's 24, he's 6'4", he's another guard. Lakers maybe not really need. He's looked at as a great two-way guy, shot 40% from three. Like, this is a guy that the Lakers were really high on, right? It's a guy that gave you 15, 4, 2. He's closer to a shooting guard than he is a point guard or even a combo guard. He's very likely a two-way. He's like a KCP, right? Like, think of KCP, think of Hodge, right? Like, that's probably the best way to look at him. And, like, maybe he doesn't end up being anything. Maybe he doesn't. But how do we know if you're not going to play him, right? Like, your starters should be, or at least in my opinion, like, your starting lineup that's getting the most run are Schifino, who is on the roster and was the 17th pick. Then it should be Hodge, who's your two-way guy, right? And the guy that you're trying to see if he's capable of making the team, especially when you have two roster spots. You could bring in Colin Castleton and Hodge, and it would make a world of sense. But again, your starters should be that, and then Lewis, Christie, and then also Castleton. Because you have the three guys that are already on the roster in Christie, Schifino, and Lewis, and then start your two-way players in Colin Castleton and Hodge. There you go. Like that, and they should be the ones that are getting a ton of run. If you don't want to play Max Christie, fine, then don't play Max Christie, right? Like, I have no problems with them. Like, if they just say, hey, like, we're not going to play Max Christie again the rest of Summer League, okay, cool. Like, I'm okay with that. He's already on the roster. We know what he can do. He's fine. Like, I don't care to see, I wanted to see him improve, obviously. We saw that. Game one, it was just like, okay, like, he's clearly better than everybody on this court. It was blatantly obvious. So I don't need to see any more from him. I want to see what the guys that are supposed to be our future, they should be the guys that are getting the burn. They are the ones that should be getting the run, not a bunch of these random guys that aren't even going to be on the G League team. Like, I don't care about those guys. I care about the guys you gave two ways to and the guys you actually drafted. Play those guys, right? Let them get reps. Let them get burned. Let them kind of get a feel for the game. And so that way we can evaluate them. Not me, the Lakers, right? We're just fans. But, like, that if I'm Rob Pelinka, I'd be telling the coach, like, dude, like, I need you to play these guys, right? Like, we need to see, like, am I bringing any of these guys into the main roster? it's kind of hard to tell if Lewis deserves a shot. I mean, he's on the roster, but like, does he deserve like quality minutes or have potential for quality minutes? How can I do that when he gets 2 shot attempts and plays 5 minutes? Like, how can I get a good gauge on him? You know, like, I want to see the guys that are going to be on the roster. I want to see the guys that have the potential to make the roster. I don't really want to see all the back burner guys, but that's just me. As always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Agree with me? Disagree with me? Somewhere in between? However you feel. Love to hear your thoughts. Let me